Hi, I'm Eric Boss, and a trailer for Avengers 4 has allegedly leaked with a very unconfirmed description making the rounds online. Now, it's clear to anyone reading this that this is very likely fan-generated. Honestly, just feels too good to be true. Real life is just more disappointing than that. But to be safe, I thought we would piece together what this fan trailer would look like. After analyzing movie trailers for several years and knowing quite a bit about how real movies are constructed, I think I can help sort out what stuff could actually be legit and what's probably fan fiction. And spoiler warning in case this description is real, may almighty Thanos not smite me for my skepticism nor demand my silence, amen. Here we go! The trailer starts off showing the damaged Infinity Gauntlet in a field on the farm planet. As the camera focuses in on the gauntlet, we hear Tony's voice. We were destined to lose. Epic music score starts. Alright, sounds plausible enough, though I gotta say, I think the Avengers directors and the team producing this trailer will be a little more nuanced than opening their trailer like previously on Avengers montage. Honestly, this all reminds me a lot of Patton Oswalt's nerd rant on Parks and Rec for what he wanted the opening shot of Star Wars Episode 7 to be.
The gloved Mandalorian armor gauntlet of Boba Fett grabs onto the sand outside the Sarlacc pit.
All right, let's move on. The Quinjet is shown landing in a Wakandan wasteland as we hear Steve Rogers say, "We've come so far." Tony and Nebula step off the jet as the remaining Avengers approach. Steve has a look of relief and says, "Tony." Tony, seeming defeated, shakes his head and gives a friendly smirk back to Cap. Okay, some issues here. Tony Stark and Nebula were stranded on Titan. They didn't have the Quinjet. And even though the Quinjet can travel through space, this would have to imply Cap somehow sent the Quinjet remotely to space out to Titan. I just think they get back to Earth differently. Now, the image of a Wakandan wasteland is interesting. Like all countries, Wakanda must be devastated to have half of its population suddenly vanish. But the rumor is that Avengers 4 will take place several years after Infinity War. And this subtle exchange between Tony and Steve just sounds like an imagined reunion moment that fans have wanted since their breakup in Civil War. Let's move on. Marvel Studios logo appears. We get a glimpse of the battle in New York from 2012 Avengers. Loki is shown looking shocked and baffled as he is on the top of Stark Tower. There's a flash of blue light as the camera pans back and cuts to black. Okay, this part sounds inspired by some of the actual rumors and leaked set photos for the Avengers 4 movie. The most popular theory is that the movie will feature some kind of time travel back to past MCU moments, including the Battle of New York. And spoiler warning again, but we have seen some set photos of RDJ and Tom Hiddleston appearing to restage that Loki and Stark confrontation in Stark Tower. It's just hard to know whether this trailer description was based on that gossip or it confirms the gossip. It's a classic chicken and the Easter egg dilemma. And I should say that showing Loki being alive again, after very clearly and very uncomfortably hearing his neck crack in Infinity War, it's a pretty mind-blowing reveal to just drop so casually early in a trailer, right? Yeah, moving on. Next we see the Wakandan throne with M'Baku at the helm. He's surrounded by his new Kingsguard, a mix of the Hill Tribe and the Dora Milaje. Shuri and Banner are seen working on a new project in the lab. So I guess this is interesting. I've been wondering who would take over the Wakandan throne in T'Challa's absence, and I assumed it would be Shuri as the next in line and the most likely to have her own Black Panther suit that she'd wear. But yeah, M'Baku would certainly be the strongest leader left in Wakanda, and I don't see anyone beating him at Warrior Falls. And Shuri could still be the hero of Black Panther and just leave M'Baku to rule the kingdom. So I guess this one checks out, but let's move on. Black Widow in full gear is in Hawkeye's family home from Age of Ultron. Basically everything is thrown all over the place and broken. Nat is studying some type of map with multiple photos and locations on it. Okay, so this is hinting at the theory for Hawkeye's storyline that we've discussed before, that Hawkeye's whole family, wife and 2 kids, will have dusted after the snap, leading to Clint smashing up his house and adding to the mess that Thor caused in Age of Ultron.
I missed you. Jeez.
Such trauma could lead Clint to the darker, edgier Ronin storyline, in which in the comics he becomes an assassin in Japan, which we've speculated based on that new haircut and costume and set photos. And unsurprisingly, this trailer description fully leans into that later on. A quick shot of Thanos is shown with a long sword walking down an alleyway in New York City. The next shot is a dark, hooded figure with glowing eyes, aiming a bow and arrow before shooting toward the camera. Okay, so this image of Thanos with the sword was concept art that was released along with with that group shot with Hulk and a unitard. But just so you know, art like this is composed for all big property movies, and it's not official. It's just meant to brainstorm different visuals for the story as it's being dreamt up. Like, think about it, why does Thanos need a sword? He's already got Infinity Stones. We didn't see him with the sword in that Gamora flashback. Maybe he gets a new one, but again, this just all feels like a reach to me. Next, 1 to 2 visuals of the quantum realm. Scott Lang, no suit, is shown running through a park, dodging explosions. Shot of space. Thor and Valkyrie are aboard a Kree ship. If this stories are true, you're our universe's last hope, if such a thing even existed. Okay, if you've been watching this channel's videos as of late, theories surrounding Scott and the quantum realm setting up Avengers 4 are very popular. But it's this Thor part that gets me a little skeptical. Everything we know about Thor and Valkyrie as characters tells us that they are just too cocky to tell an unknown like Carol Danvers to her face that she's universe's last hope. The Thor we know is a warrior. He'd go from farmhouse to farmhouse, chop down every door with Stormbreaker, and plan to aim for the head this time. And what legends would Thor have heard? Like, if Odinson knew of these stories of a crazy powerful Earth woman, he would have brought it up by now. So yeah, I'm thinking fake. Next. The next shot is an older, determined Tony Stark walking through the new S.H.I.E.L.D. HQs, that's Avengers facility in upstate New York. He's in full S.H.I.E.L.D. attire, carrying an orange briefcase. Banner, wearing spandex, is seen running from something, looking terrified. So this description assumes that S.H.I.E.L.D. will relaunch somehow with Tony Stark's resources, which I guess makes sense. In the aftermath of the snap, I would imagine the remaining forces pooling their resources like that. But this orange briefcase comes from another set photo showing a prop orange briefcase with binary augmented retro framing written on it. That's of course referring to BARF, the hologram technology Stark showed MIT students in Civil War. Now I'm not sure if this briefcase that we saw in the photo is a prop or if it's like set equipment containing a different BARF related prop. There's also been some speculation that rather than literal time travel, the Avengers could use Stark's BARF technology to revisit memories of these past battles, a kind of X-Men Danger Room kind of thing. Moving on, the next shot is Ant-Man appearing out of a flash of light and landing in a desolate place. We see it from his point of view from inside his helmet. He looks left to right and to his left again and says, "What in the?" Camera focuses on Vormir and its stars. Okay, the idea here is that Ant-Man's trip through the quantum realm will spit him out on Vormir, the planet from Infinity War where the Soul Stone resided. This also just feels a little convenient to me, suggesting that that space stone wormhole that whooshed Red Skull to Vormir in Captain America is the same kind of portal that Scott will use to escape the quantum realm. I might be wrong, but I just don't think Avengers 4 will return to Vormir as a location at all. It just kind of felt like a one and done kind of place to me. Moving on. Next, a shot of Rocket and Nebula modifying some new weapons in the lab. Rocket says, "When can we try this bad boy out?" And they smile at each other and fist bump. Okay, no, Nebula doesn't fist bump. Next, we get our first glimpse of Iron Man in his red and gold nanotech armor. Hulk falls from the sky and lands in front of him. Thanos in full armor smiles. Hulk smiles back. Tony's new red and gold armor has been described in some low-res leaked concept art, which looks inspired by the Model 4 armor from the comics. And I assume Avengers 4 will feature some kind of fistfight rematch between Thanos and Hulk. Since Hulk wouldn't come out to play for most of Infinity War, I assume the filmmakers are saving the goods for the final showdown. But let's move on. The next shot is in Japan. War Machine, Nat, and Steve, in their full Avengers gear, are surrounded by the Yakuza. Hawkeye, Ronin, walks through everybody from behind and then approaches the Avengers. There's an intense exchange of looks between Clint and Natasha. Okay, so I assume this scene would be like a follow-up to that description of Natasha and Clint's smashed farmhouse earlier. And I guess the suggestion is that she and Cap and Rhodey track down Clint to Japan, finding him running the Japanese crime world. We have seen some set photos of a city block with signs in Japanese. There's also a rumor of a casting notice for actors to play Yakuza who are actually Skrull imposters. So I get where this imagery is coming from. I just don't think the real trailer would give us all of this information so early. Like Marvel trailers typically play things a bit closer to the chest. And this description reads like, major reveal after major reveal. Hell, why even see Avengers 4 when we could just read this description? Let's move on. Next shot is at the Sanctum. Wong is communicating with Doctor Strange's soul via portal. Cuts to black. Gray-haired Tony Stark and Ant-Man are in a post-apocalyptic NYC. Now, I will admit that I like the idea of Doctor Strange haunting the surviving characters in ghost form, but if a mere conjured portal is all that's needed to chat with him, doesn't that kind of cheapen his death? And again, really, any deceased character appearing in this trailer would be mind-blowing. Showing multiple of them in one trailer would just be too much. And yeah, Tony and Scott in post-apocalyptic NYC is pretty much a literal description of that leaked set photo. Next, the screen flashes back and forth multiple times throughout multiple scenes. We see Captain Marvel floating with her fists on fire and her eyes lit up. Thanos Thanos and the Soul Stone with young Gamora screaming at him. Loki and Thor fighting off Chitauri together. And Tony handing Steve a brand new shield in the Wakandan throne room. Okay, well, this description at least understands the escalate to rapid intercutting montage formula of all action movie trailers, but it all just sounds so fan servicey. All massive payoffs that Marvel might give us one of in a trailer if we're lucky. Moving on. And cuts back to Tony and Scott. Tony opens the orange briefcase as Scott hands him an illuminated bracelet. Tony asks, how is this even possible? Iron Man and Ant-Man are shown traveling through the quantum realm. Tony and Scott are back in the Battle of New York in 2012. Okay, again, this whole description is trying to piece together various set photo imagery, but the narrative it's creating has just too many inconsistencies. First, if that orange briefcase had Barf written on it, why would Stark be the one to be confused by it? Also, why would any trailer be ordered in such a way as to show us various shots of Loki alive in the Battle of New York in the trailer, and then present the idea of the quantum realm time travel as a twist reveal? Like, you think it would be the other way around. Introduce the idea of quantum time travel, and then show us the implications of it, like getting to see characters alive again. But you know, superfans just don't think linearly. They blow their wads, and then they try to justify. And it brings me to the big trailer moment. The final shot before the title reveal is an Infinity Stone disappearing from Thanos' damaged gauntlet. He abruptly gets up and puts on his armor. His face goes from extremely infuriated to a menacing smile. Title reveal, Avengers Annihilation. Now, to be fair, Thanos seeing one of the Infinity Stones suddenly fading away from the gauntlet, the same way the snap victim suddenly faded away, would be a very cool sight. But here's what confuses me. How does a super in-depth trailer description, presumably written by a witness perceptive enough to describe Stark's armor, or the planet Vormir, or the color of a briefcase, not tell us the color of the Infinity Stone that disappeared? You could tell us what color the damn briefcase was. You couldn't tell us whether Thanos has to fight without the green time stone or the red reality stone. Like, even if the Russos Tarantino'd this shot into noiry black and white, you can still tell by the damn placement. Also, it's just a little weird to follow this major image of hope with a downer title like Annihilation. Like, I know Avengers Annihilation has been going around online for the past few weeks, but I'm sorry, I just don't see Marvel naming their most important movie the same title as the second Mortal Kombat movie. And of course, because this fan description is going for extra credit, it includes a trailer post-title stinger. The Hulk is training at the new S.H.I.E.L.D. facility with Black Widow and Steve. Steve notices that Hulk has been training non-stop as of late, so he asks why. Hulk responds in Banner's normal voice with, "My rematch is coming real soon. I can feel it." Okay, I get it. Professor Hulk, with Banner having complete cognitive control over the Hulk's body, is something that lots of fans, including me, have been wanting to see. It's just the dialogue doesn't sound anything like any professor would say, or any movie character would say, unless I guess they're in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. So there it is, your Avengers 4 trailer description, which I think I've more or less proven to be fan composed. That said, I am fully willing to eat humble pie if this ends up being the exact description of the trailer. Oh boy, would that be embarrassing. But here's my question for you. Which of these unlikely images do you think would be the most likely to appear in the real Avengers 4 trailer? Comment down below with your thoughts and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at EABoss. And subscribe to New Rockstars for breakdowns of actual trailers when they come out, including the one for Avengers 4, which I assume was already broken down shot for shot exactly by Patton Oswalt in Parks and Rec. You gotta check this out.
Tony Stark realizes that there has been a disturbance in what he will call a time ribbon.
Yep, time ribbon confirmed. Thanks, Patton. Bye.